If you want, yes.
Okay.
Hey, everybody. We are now live. Welcome to week 5 of Spreading a Lie or Surviving Quarantine by Spreading a Lie. Can we tell it's week 5? My brain's gone. Um, I am so blessed to have one of my friends here with me today who is I just love you, Kimberly. You're just amazing. She actually has her doctorate, so it's actually Dr. Williams, but I personally know her, and you have one of the biggest hearts and one of the most giving spirits that I have ever met. And so I'm excited for people to get to know you and I'll put up what we're talking about today is leading with heart. So to get started, introduce yourself.
Well, thank you, Emily. I am Dr. Kimberly Williams. I have studied over the years communications, organizational leadership and development, worked with the pharmaceutical industry, healthcare, television broadcasting, but I just genuinely enjoy working with people, helping people to be successful, to succeed in whatever they endeavor to do. And you have been an absolute blessing in my life, like we've talked about several times, in meeting you, interacting with you. And this has just come full circle in us being able to work together.
I agree. I love it. So just a little ground rules for people that's watching. There is a comment box. We have some things that we're going to discuss, but if you want anything for us to talk about, just leave your comments below and we will talk about them. And also just let us know who's online. And then if you can as well, we always want to like, subscribe, and share. I'm bad at asking for that, but we need the more people that get to actually see this content, as our goal for surviving quarantine by spreading life is to continue to bring positivity to your newsfeed with valuable experts in the field. So let's get started. First question I have for you is, what does leading with heart mean in the first place?
Okay, so leading with heart is a principle that is critical now more than ever, especially during these uncertain times. So, simply being a leader with heart is a principle that outlines deliberately blending the care and compassion that you have in your personal life and translating that over into your professional life, maintaining honesty and integrity.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give another example. So, in my day job, which I didn't discuss earlier, I work with, manage, and lead physicians and physician leaders. And many of them will tell you a number of reasons why they became a physician, but lots of them will say, I want to care for others. And leading with heart is basically the same principle. I train leaders to not only utilize what we call emotional intelligence or EQ, but to genuinely care for those you work with sincerely. And when you genuinely care, you become a better leader.
Mm-hmm. I agree so much. And I think that is something that is needed now more than ever. And I think the other fact that is that in this space and time, no matter if you are a leader in the workforce or at work, you also can be a leader at home. And I think that's something that's very big at this time too. So let's talk about that real quick. With many people working remotely for the first time, they're not just leading their people, they're also leading their children or whatever that may be their spouses, their families. So with many people working remotely for the first time, what recommendations do you have for leaders to lead with heart during this time?
So you make a very good point, Emily. Taking the lead means simply displaying initiative or being proactive. So that's in the workplace, of course, but that's also at home. We want to ensure that everyone is building strong foundations, just like in the workplace. Building is business is built on foundations of strong relationships. So whether it's in an organization, outside the organization, in your home, outside of your home, it really takes that two-way communication, understanding what individuals need, and opening a true dialogue with your colleagues, with your family, with your coworkers, with those you report to and those who report to you. And so we must also remember that people are most important when getting work done. We cannot get work done anywhere. As we know, it's very difficult at home to get work done. But even, especially in the workplace, people are absolutely important. So we as leaders must show compassion and care, both physically and emotionally, being concerned about the well-being of our team members. So, okay, to those recommendations. Some of the physical things that I think about are ensuring that individuals have a great place to work. I actually work from home pretty regularly, but if you can see, I have a good stable space with lots of light, and you want to ensure that your employees have an established place within their home to work, whether it's an office, whether it's a kitchen table, a dining room table, a corner, a nook. They need a good, comfortable, physical space to set up and engage. And that's the same for your children. If they're at home, as most of them are, they have schoolwork. The children have Zoom video calls. They have interactive programming. They need access to online work. So make sure they have their own space as well. Even if you're all sharing the same space, make sure everybody has a dedicated space to sit out and be comfortable. And then on the emotional side, I always mention getting to know your team members. And you do that so well. It's sure that you ask about their children, their spouses, their pets. You see a dog run across the screen. It's not a time to be nervous or uncomfortable, but check in. Well, how's your pet doing? And what's your dog's name? And then try to remember that and write that down. Mm-hmm. That's a great example of a leader leading with heart for those who are working from home now, especially now.
Mm-hmm. And I think the thing that I love and that I hear that resonates the most is it's that having the empathy and the care into knowing that this is not a per se normal situation for people, and understanding that meet them where they're at kind of approach to it. And that looking at it in a way that how can we connect more than ever? And that's the beauty that I'm excited about this the most, is to see the connection after this and seeing how many people can, like, it's the beauty that people get to meet you, like even in this space, and get to know you a little bit more and know your heart. And I don't feel like this would be as easy comparative in the work environment it was. So allowing more people to be more connected than ever is something that I think is a beautiful aspect. But then also we do have to talk about the other side, is that we talk a lot about we're at home, but what about the essentials that are in the workplace right now? Like my husband, he has to go. He is a lineman. We just had the tornadoes that hit, so he had to go out. He actually got to come home, and he's been cutting trees, the trees that fell out here. So those kind of things right there. What are some things that your essential employees who must go to work daily, like what about them?
Okay, so I think you've already thrown that out there, Emily, and described it. It's that empathy, it's that sympathy, and it's that both, I said, physical and mental or emotional care and concern. Mm-hmm. So we want to make sure that those essential employees have the tools that they absolutely need. And that's big for me right now, is ensuring that our physicians, our frontline workers have PPE or protective equipment like masks, gloves, the clear face mask, things that will protect them. If it's hand sanitizer, antibacterial wipes, knowing that we're in the home, we don't need those items as much because you can get up and go to the bathroom, to your kitchen sink, to the bathtub, shower. You can physically wash with soap and water. But individuals who must go to work, they're going to need some other tools. They're going to need some other things to remain healthy and safe. And that's critical, making sure they're safe and understanding that they may be a bit fearful about being out. So again, that empathy, that concern, showing that you understand that it's not business as usual, and offering your support to help them be in a better place, help them be more safe and secure.
I agree.
And then on the flip side of that, I have to throw this out here, is employees who are having fun at work are happier employees. So just because employees are essential does not mean they can't have fun. And we know this is a very serious matter. Again, I go back to my physicians who are in the hospital. They're dealing with some dire situations, with individuals with disease, with very difficult situations where their families aren't around. I know your husband is out and about, and with our social distancing that we have right now, individuals can't be as in close proximity with others, whereas they may be used to talking and sharing a little bit more. They may have to separate and spread out a little bit. But I go back to having fun at work not only restores immunity, elevates endorphins, and reduces diseases, but it in general makes us more happy and pleasant to be around. So if I have to think of an example of that, I think of some of you may have seen some of the nurse and physician TikTok videos where individuals are dancing and they're creating different dance moves, even in very serious situations and serious places. So I think that adds a little bit of humor, fun, excitement to the day. So those are some things that I think about for those essential employees. Let's just ensure that they're having fun, having a good time where they can. They still have to work and be focused. But let's try to have some fun in all of this, like you and I are doing today. Hopefully we're adding fun to others' days. And, it's a Monday after Easter of all days. So hope we're adding to their fun.
Yes, and I agree on that, because in the healthcare, I came from the healthcare side and we've discussed it a lot. It's the policies and regulations. So right now, rules and regulations, and making sure that those don't dominate the care and compassion that needs to be, because the personal PED policy is what we call a personal electronic device. And so it was always big that you can't have your phones out and you can't. But the thing is if it's in a space that one does not show any HIPAA related content or media, it is something that it's a vent for them. It really is. And seeing people in the healthcare industry be able to give back and also be able to give information too on top of it and to show the reality of this. And so I love that aspect that you're pointing that out and showing that it matters for the front line, because we talked about this a little bit before. For the healthcare industry, especially thinking about my ER docs and my friends on that aspect, is that they usually come and solve problems because they have typically the answers. This one, there's no answers. And so they're in the life-saving business, and already as it is, how frustrating can it be that they can't save it because they don't even know what they're dealing with. They don't have these other aspects. And so I think it's important, especially from leadership side, to allow them to have some fun, to have that creativity, to not shut off the learning centers of their brain by stressing them even more than it is. So I really think that's a great point on that. So.
Right. And I like that one thing that you mentioned, and I wanted to point out, is a few of my physicians, when they first, because now some of the physicians, surgeons who cannot conduct surgeries, those non-essential surgeries, some of the medic or individuals who are going in for some other things that aren't really necessary right now, some of those physicians are helping out in the ER. And where they used to be leaders, they're having to take the lead from a nurse or someone who is more involved, who's more connected, who understands what's going on. And physicians have had to struggle to move from that leadership role and allow someone else to step up and lead. And I feel that demonstrates heart as well, leading with heart. You are now transferring over what you have done for such a long time to someone else, where you can humble yourself. And that's another component of leading with heart. The human side of it, leaders have to be and should be humble and demonstrate humility. Again, all of these key components of being a heart leader or leading with heart are really essential to maintaining great employee relationships, keeping employees and team members happy, productive, wanting to stay with an organization. All of those things are critical. So I'm so glad you mentioned that. Just having fun on the job, and then being sometimes when you have to step back and not be that leader and allow someone else to lead.
And that, I think that's the true sign of a leader too, is knowing when to go and when to stay, like in what role, in laying down your own ego in this aspect. And what we say is being hot with it. So humble, open, and transparent. I stole that from a church and I've used it ever since. It was absolutely love it. But I think that's true leadership, and that aspect of it is that humility with confidence is really where it's at, is that you're confident in your skills and you know that you can contribute, but you also know where your place in your role is. And as leaders, it's always not it's not always to lead, which is sounds counterintuitive at times, but that's what it is.
Absolutely.
And so let me go to the next question I have for you is, what are some helpful things leaders can say to others to demonstrate they authentically care? And that can be at work or home, either of those aspects of it.
Right. So you think about, there's a lot of canned answers out there that leaders are taught. Here are the appropriate things to say to make them feel wanted, needed, or to make them feel that you care. But when you're leading with heart, these things have to be genuine. They have to come from your heart. So I say, think about those things that you would want someone to say to you. What matters to you? And we do know and understand that one thing that matters to one person may not necessarily matter or be important to another person. Therefore, it's very, very important and relevant at this time. Get to know your employees. Make sure you know your team members. Connect with them now, even more so. But if you haven't done it before today's a good time to do that. And as I just mentioned earlier, it's good to ask and know the names of their partner, their spouse, their children, their pets. If it's someone who lives or spends a lot of time taking care of a parent, they're a caregiver for a parent or a grandmother, family member. Make sure you know those names, and then genuinely ask, how is Trent doing today? What are Kayla and Kyle up to this week? And most importantly, ask, what are you doing for yourself? And wait for an answer. And silence or pauses are okay. So not that canned, time limit. Okay, I asked a question, you have 2 minutes to respond, and then it's over. But allow silence. If it's not today, maybe set up some time with your team members to every Friday, let's connect and let's check in and find out what everyone's doing in a more in-depth manner. And that's the same for your children and for your family at home. You're the leader, you're the boss, you're the teacher, potentially. You're the leader at home. So check in with them as well and ask them authentically how they're doing, how they're feeling, what's going on in their life. So that's one of the ways to be genuine and ask those questions. And then right now, I ask individuals to think about, and I say to them, it's okay to say no or stop something. And we as leaders typically, or as parents, or you're out there working every day, you typically do what needs to be done to make things happen. But make sure that your employees and team members know that it's okay to say no. Now, the bulk of their job that has to get done, you can't say no clearly, but it's okay to say no. And here I'll give you one example of that. So right now, if you are not already, I hear from all of my friends and family who are binge watching all of these great shows, and it's an awesome time to catch up on all of these series. And that works for a lot of people. It's time to veg out, take your mind off of everything that's going on with COVID-19, and just watch a couple of episodes of Ozark, for example, one of my favorite shows. However, some of us may choose to say no to binge watching.
Mm-hmm.
Missing out on some of that pop culture right now is okay.
Mm-hmm.
And as a leader leading with heart, it's good to help individuals decipher where their time is best spent. And so, making sure maybe it's not binge watching TV. Maybe it's making sure I spend more time with my family. Maybe it's making sure I spend more time with my parents. Maybe it's I spend more time outside getting exercise. What
Mm-hmm.
that no is for you, that's extremely important.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have one final kind of question that I feel like leaders should ask employees is, how can I help?
Mm-hmm.
And not what do you need, but how can I help? And, it's again, that can be different for each individual. Maybe it's individual hasn't had time to think about, oh, wow, somebody just asked me how they could help. I'll take $1 million. Not really. But what about if someone may just, you can see they're frustrated, you hear it in their voice, offer mental breaks.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that isn't something that you do in your day to day when you're in the office, when you're in your physical location. But I'd say today, offer mental breaks, whether it's in the hospital. 15 minutes is helpful. An hour here and there is helpful. And where you can, a day off sometimes is necessary. And I'll give an example. One of my friends leads a team of project managers. And unfortunately, right now, several of their projects were canceled. And fortunately, she had to furlough.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And so that was, of course, that's not great for the individuals who had to be furloughed, but also for my friend, it wasn't great for her. And so I recommended for her to just take a mental health day after all of that. And individuals are thinking, well, she still has a job. Why would she need a mental health day? But those individuals who she had to furlough, and yes, we say, okay, they can collect unemployment or they can do different things. Everyone's situation is very different. So we have, and that's always something to keep in mind. That is a matter of the heart to remember. Everyone is not where you are. People have different levels of perspective and blessing. So you have to meet people where they are. Give them some time to, even as things are changing so rapidly and we have to jump right in and do some things that are different. Give individuals the opportunity to just take some time off and veg out. And when you do these things, they feel trusted. Integrity, as we talked about earlier, is a part of this. And integrity begets integrity. So if you can show someone that you're living in integrity and honesty, they trust you as a leader. That's the humility and the humbleness of being a leader. And you have to offer the same for your team members, your colleagues, your employees.
Mm-hmm. And there's a few things that I see that really resonates with me. I think one that you talked about, the no, saying no and having your own time. And also, because I feel like a lot of us type A people as well, we have this guilt because we're not being effective with our time like we're used to. And maybe like my spouse, he's working all day and he comes back home and he just wants to watch TV. And I'm like, oh, but I have to, I can't, I've watched enough. Like, I don't need that right now. So that's one aspect of it. And then the other is that your kids and your spouse, having those conversations is so key right now. And the biggest things that I see from that is one, asking them where they're at and how can you serve them? Because I think that sometimes it feels awkward that we're asking our children, how can we serve them? But we should, and asking them what are some ways, because they're going through this time that's unknown for them.
Right.
And I think that's also, I'm going to give a little plug too. If anybody is next Thursday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are having a physician on, and she is going to be talking. She is an infectious disease doctor who actually studied coronaviruses, and she's a virologist, and she works at Chattanooga Children's. And she's just going to have a conversation with the kids about answering their questions, because it was that aspect is like, how can I serve my kids in this? What's a space that I can be able to help them out too? Because I'm getting fed by other people, but what are they getting fed by? And I hope it's not like Fortnite and some other things, but like even with those things, it's like that's the only interaction some people are having other than Zoom calls.
Right, absolutely.
And so it's the grace aspect that's really huge right now that I would say. So I see that we do have, he's one of my favorite humans, and he knows this. Mike is on. So hi, Mike. We'll say hi to you. I know we're at the end of our time. So if anybody's have any comments or questions, feel free to put them up right now. Again, please like, share, comment about this. Let us know what else you want to hear. We are extending to May, as long as our government keeps extending these quarantines. Apparently, so are we. And so this is a great time. And then finally, I do want to mention that we do have a give back right now. Don't forget, WorkSpeed, all of our services, we have waived all fees until the end of quarantine, whenever that may be. And it is a give back to you. You can ask and get connected with coaches. You can get connected with group trainings, whatever may work and is needed for yourself. So it's for us just to get back, spread life, and help people stay a little sane during this time period, because we know if we need it, other people have got to need it too, right?
That's right. That is so true.
So, but I would just want to say thank you so much for joining me, Kimberly. You are such a blessed soul, and I know people got so much out of this, because I know I have. And thank you for being just an amazing leader, and thank you for helping the physicians. I know that's really your love and your care that you give to people that are fighting on the front lines, and just thank you for all that you do for them as well, to be that support and during this time period.
Wonderful, Emily. Well, thank you. Don't forget to take some time for self-care for yourself. You're such a leader. You're a mover and a shaker. You're coordinating lots of different people, children, family, all of us. And so take some time for yourself and care for yourself. And thank you. I look forward to another opportunity.
Yes, for sure. And I know Mike just put something up. Repeat the date. So it's this Thursday at 9 a.m. Mike, I will tag you on that, and I will also go and send it out again. I'm going to send it out. And yes, Lori put this, great speaker, and yes, she's the most soothing voice. I know. I love speaking to you all the time. I swear, if we could just put you on a podcast and just hear, because it's not just a soothing voice. You have the spirit inside of you, and then you also have the knowledge and the wisdom. So you're such a great soul.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, Lori. Thank you, Emily.
Awesome. Well, y'all all have a blessed and awesome day. Stay safe. Stay well. And prayers for our North Georgia, Chattanooga area, and Alabama, Mississippi, that all got hit pretty hard this past yesterday. So thoughts and prayers also go out to those people and the first responders and everybody that is in the middle of a tornado as well as quarantine. So your hearts are on, or your hearts are on our minds. So we are praying for you. We're thinking about you. So have an awesome and blessed day.
Thanks so much.